you might be wondering if your Pinterest account is actually working for you and not against you. This week's video, we're talking about Pinterest audits, and I'm actually going to do a live Pinterest audit for you so you know what to do in the event of figuring out if your Pinterest account is working for you. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, if you are not a subscriber, I'm inviting you right now to subscribe to the channel. I release weekly Pinterest tips, including, but not limited to, audits, strategy, how to create images, like tech tutorials, all sorts of that jazz. So stay tuned, click the subscribe button, and if you like this video, please hit the like button. Okay, so I am auditing Tara's account today. This account is actually a really good one, and I think that she has a solid start. So Tara, I think you're doing a great job. I just have a few suggestions. But first, I want to go over kind of the things that you want to look at when you're auditing your own Pinterest account on its own. So you can kind of look at this as a checklist, and I can even put this in the description below. So the first thing we want to do is kind of look at our board titles and descriptions, and then our bio and our title. So let's do that first. So her title is this right here. I dream of simple, decluttering tips, mindfulness, and simple routines. So that actually probably just barely fits in there. And she's done this strategically to keyword herself. So essentially when people are looking for decluttering tips, hopefully what's happening is she's coming up to the top of the list. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Decluttering tips, and hit enter. And then we're going to filter by people. And ideally she's at the top, which she is. She's in the first row. So I Dream of Simple is here, and you can tell she's in a league with people that are pretty heavy hitters, which is amazing. So we're doing a really good job with that. So Tara, good job on that. And then the next thing that we want to look at on her profile are the board titles and descriptions. If you're having trouble finding your boards now that Pinterest has changed all of that, you have to click activity and see all boards. And then you'll be able to see the boards that you're part of. So what we're looking for are our board titles as well as our board descriptions. Are the board titles that you have on your profile keyworded well? That's the question I want you to ask yourself. Now, I personally don't believe that this board right here, declutter, is keyworded well enough. I think that you did a better job on decluttering and organize. I would probably even make this a little bit more long tail and put it as decluttering and organizing your home. And I think that's probably what this pin here, the board cover, says, but you can't quite see it because it's cut off. And then decluttering ideas, maybe you do decluttering ideas for, let's just search it out, decluttering ideas for the home or for busy moms, because that's who your target audience is, right? It's decluttering. You're decluttering and simplifying and giving routines to busy moms. So if you were to look at that, you can see that there are keywords and pins that are in relation to that busy mom target that you're looking for. And that's a super long tail keyword. And I mean it's super long tail because there's no keywords at the top here suggested. So you can see that what I searched for is what came up. So that's kind of what I would suggest, is kind of defining your titles a little bit more. The next thing that we want to look at is your board descriptions. So first things first, I do not suggest any of the keyword stuffing. I think these keywords are great that you have chosen. I would, however, write them out into sentences. So I write out decluttering your space, time, and mind. I provide simple living tips for capsule wardrobes, simple living with kids, and setting up daily routines that work for the whole family. Something like that. Like, put all of those words into an actual sentence. Pinterest actually reads this, and what they're looking for are descriptions that can be read by a human. Okay, so I would just suggest changing those. So you want to fill your descriptions, if you can, completely, until it tells you that you have no more room to type. So I would start with 3 to 5 long tail keywords and then elaborate. And if you can fit 2 or 3 more in, that's great. If you can't, that's great. Just make sure that your descriptions are strong and that your board titles are equally as strong. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to look at is actually elaborating on pin description. What I would challenge you to do, however, is to choose 3 to 5 keywords that you can use on this pin description that will get this pin found. And what's happening is when you look at your pin and you're not seeing much traffic to it, you're not seeing many impressions, which I actually don't know what's happening because I can't see your back end. But I'm going to dare to guess that this isn't getting as much traffic as you would like it to. And one way that you can tell is if Pinterest is categorizing your pin in the same, with pins that are the same topic. So they're similar. There's a lot of parenting tips in here. There's a lot of your pins in here that are being thrown in as related, which is fine. It's actually good. But there's more parenting, there's more mindfulness, and I think what Pinterest is doing is it's actually pulling your title here and it's putting pins that are related to that down here. So what you can do to ensure that you are in the same category as the people that you want to show up with is to use those keywords in your description. All right, so this would be how to have mindfulness in your home, or whatever those keywords are going to be. And then you can see that Pinterest is actually pulling pins that are related to mindfulness, which this is yours, but this is not. This one's not. Like things like that. So that's what you're looking for. So look at your related pins and see if they're the same. So what I would actually do for this pin is use keywords like first day of school, back to school tips, starting a new school, transitioning to a new school, which you used that one, which is good, and new school year for kids. So that's 5 different keyword. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to evaluate your group boards. So one way that I want you to do this is actually to go to Tailwind and click Board Insights and then filter out all of the boards, just leave in group boards, and then filter that by virality. And what I want you to do is just look at your group boards and see how they're ranking in comparison to each other. Are there any boards in your profile that maybe just suck? Are they, like, look at the average of what your virality is based on your boards, and if there is a big chunk of them that's less than like 2, then perhaps you need to archive those or leave them. So one way that you can tell if it's just sucky is usually by how big the board is. So if the board is a catch-all and it is like, there's one on here that you have, it has like 157,000 pins. I am also on this group board, at least I was at one point, and it was below 1% for me. So I left all of those that were just huge and bloated. What's happening is people are pinning to them and they're not repinning from them. So that's kind of what you want to look for. Boards that just aren't performing for you, just get rid of them. They're not going to help you out at all. And then the last thing that I want you to do is consider doing a little bit of research on hashtags. One thing that I noticed when looking through your pins was you're not using hashtags at all, and people are using hashtags. So just look for hashtags that are related to your content, like this one, transition to a new school. Your hashtags could be something like back to school, hashtag new school. That's something that I would suggest doing is just looking at hashtags and finding the ones that are related to your niche, to what you're doing, and just search for them and see what other people are doing. Obviously, this person's probably targeting like back to school recipes. These people are also doing that. Do some hashtag research and figure out, where you fit in, and add 2 to 3 of them to each of your pins. I would not suggest going back and, overkilling keywords and hashtags on older pins. Instead, I would just suggest repinning them fresh from your website, adding additional keywords in your description, and then adding the hashtags on at that point. And then you have a new version of the same pin on Pinterest with a stronger description, stronger hashtags, and then you can evaluate whether or not it's actually working and if you are targeting the right audience based on your analytics. So that's it. That's how you audit your Pinterest account to see if what you are doing is effective or not. Obviously, a lot of that's going to come down to analytics, and I hope to do a lesson on that in the future. However, right now, I hope this was super helpful. Tara, thank you so much for letting me audit your Pinterest account. If you need any further support, please let me know. So that was it. Did you enjoy the live audit? Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. And if you would like to have an audit live like this one, the form to fill out and actually apply for a live audit is in the description of the video. And don't forget to grab my strategy guide. It's completely free and it walks you through the foundation of the steps I take every client through when I onboard a new one. So if you need Pinterest strategy, grab the free strategy guide and sign up for your free audit right now.